In a realm woven with threads of doubt and fear, where the echoes of the past intertwine with the whispers of the future, what if one day you awaken to discover that you are not merely a part of the tapestry, but a weaver of destinies? Meet Elara, a young woman whose seemingly ordinary life in a humble town unravels into an extraordinary quest when an ancient book finds its way into her hands. As she explores her newfound connections to the spiritual realm, will she embrace the calling of the chosen ones, or will the shadows of uncertainty drown her light before it can truly shine? Elara had often felt like a solitary star in a vast, indifferent universe, twinkling with potential, yet unsure of her place. Growing up in the sleepy town of Willow Creek, she was surrounded by familiar faces and comfortingly repetitive routines that dulled her senses and closed her off from the extraordinary. Yet, beneath the surface of her regular life, deep within her heart, flickered a whisper, an ancient song of possibility that beckoned her to step beyond the ordinary. It began one autumn evening when dusk painted the sky with hues of orange and purple. Elara was wandering through her grandmother's attic, an uncharted territory filled with dust and memories. There, among forgotten relics and fading photographs, she uncovered an old chest adorned with intricate carvings. She pried it open to find a leather-bound book, its pages aged like the wisdom they held. Its title, embossed in gold, read, "The Chronicles of the Chosen Ones." As she opened the book, the pages seemed to come alive, shimmering under her touch. She was drawn into tales of individuals who had transcended their limitations, champions of light, who had harnessed divine energy to protect the realms and guide humanity. Each story resonated with her soul, igniting a flicker of recognition that whispered within her, perhaps she was meant for a greater purpose. That night, Elara fell asleep with the book cradled in her arms, dreams swirling around her like a gentle breeze. In these dreams, she found herself in breathtaking landscapes, bathed in ethereal light. She met others like her, fellow chosen ones with unique gifts that mirrored her own hidden potential. As they joined in a circle, their energies intertwined, creating a symphony of strength and support. The energy pulsated through her, awakening abilities that she never knew resided within her. But just as the harmony of the circle crescendoed, shadows threatened to snuff out the light. Dark figures loomed at the edges of her dreams, whispering doubts and fears that twisted her heart. They were embodiments of chaos, casting a shroud over the unity that had begun to blossom. Elara awoke with a start, her heart racing, the echoes of the shadows etched in her mind. In the days that followed, Elara felt the whispering call of the universe grow louder. It heightened every time she revisited the book, revealing secrets about her lineage, shared energies, and the struggles faced by those who walked the path of the chosen ones. Yet, as enlightenment blossomed within her, so did an undercurrent of fear. Those dark figures flitted through her mind, reminding her of the dangers that came with awakening. At school, she often looked at her classmates, sensing their struggles beneath the surface. She observed a fellow student, Jeremy, who lost himself in anxiety, too afraid to voice his own dreams. Another time, she found Karen sitting alone, defeated by the pressures of expectation and conformity. In those fleeting moments, Elara realized her awakening was not just about her own journey, but was intertwined with the fates of others. Driven by that understanding, Elara slowly began reaching out to her friends, sharing bits of the magic she'd encountered in her dreams. She spoke of the energy that cradled their existence and the profound connection among those chosen to walk this path. At first, they scoffed with laughter. It felt foreign and unsure, like a distant tune in a cacophony of noise. But as Elara began to practice her emerging gifts, they would soon find themselves drawn to the flickering light within her. One chilly evening under the stars, she invited her friends to the clearing behind her house. Elara felt the universe surrounding them, the energy of the earth flowing through her feet, anchoring her primal connection. As they gathered in a circle, she guided them through breathing exercises, lighting candles positioned around them to symbolize their intent, a gathering of light against dark. At first, unease quivered among her friends. They exchanged nervous glances, feeling the intensity of new sensations coursing through them like static electricity. But with each deep breath, Aria could sense their trepidation beginning to dissolve, channeled into a collective energy that steadily grew stronger. As they closed their eyes and focused on the warmth within, visions compelled Alara's mind. She could see rivers of energy streaming through each person, pulsating in rhythm with her own heartbeat. In that moment, Aria felt more connected than ever, as if they existed not as separate beings, but as threads in a cosmic tapestry, intricately woven together. But the shadows that haunted her dreams loomed large in her heart, whispering insidiously that harmony would not last, that they would falter against the inevitable darkness. As days turned into weeks, Aria could not shake the feeling that a confrontation was coming, that the beautiful light around them was being threatened. Despite that weight, she pushed forward, using the dreams as an anchor to her resolve, reminding herself and her friends that with collective strength, they could navigate the murky waters of doubt. Together, they took turns sharing their hidden insecurities and dreams, each session fueling their bond as the fears that once tied them down began to slowly untangle. But within each moment of light, sinister forces began to stir. Rumors reverberated through their town of strange happenings, people claiming to feel watched, the peculiar sense that cleanliness of their sacred spaces had been disrupted. Whispered conversations of darkness began to echo louder, clawing at the edges of their awakening. One evening, while practicing together, they suddenly noticed an ominous aura chasing through the clearing. The candles flickered wildly, almost snuffed out by a cold wind that rushed through. Fear and confusion clamored within them, a warning, a sign that their sanctuary was being compromised. Aria felt her heart race. It was no longer an echo or a dream, as shadows began to piece together a reality that threatened to unravel all they had worked for. In that moment of uncertainty, Aria gathered her friends, grounding them back to their center. "We have faced our fears. Let's face this together," she urged. With hands clasped and hearts ignited, they closed their eyes and visualized their combined energies manifesting as a swirling light. The flicker returned, growing brighter as it blended with the fears lying in their hearts, both light and dark weaving a dance they could not escape. With whispered incantations echoing through the air, they called upon the energies within the divine source that lay dormant just beneath the surface. The stirring shadows lingered, but upon realizing they were no longer alone, Aria suddenly felt empowered, believing that the darkness they feared could become a force of strength if they harnessed it together. Little did they know that lurking beyond the edges of the clearing, the shadows were observing with keen interest, ready to strike at the very moment they dared to unravel the light. With their energies combined, what they had sparked could change not just their lives, but the fate of all the town harbored within. As winter settled over Willow Creek, the world outside transformed into a glittering wonderland, yet Aria felt a brewing storm within her spirit. Cold winds echoed her inner turmoil, and the urgency of her newfound mission hung heavily upon her heart. The initial glow of awakening had faded, pierced by shadows whispering doubts and instilling fear of an unknown adversary. Aria knew that a confrontation was inevitable, and within that knowledge lay both dread and resolve. Every evening, under the breath of a chilling wind, she gathered with Ravi and Mira. Routine meetings evolved into intense training sessions as they practiced honing their gifts like warriors preparing for battle. They focused on energy manipulation, meditation, and visualization techniques that would allow them to harness their strengths when the darkness arrived. Aria offered encouragement, her voice steady as she guided them through exercises to amplify their abilities. But even as her words brimming with passion fell from her lips, the underlying fear ebbed away at her composure. She could sense that each session brought them closer not just to mastery, but to inevitable danger. "Feel the energy within you," Alara urged one night, the three of them sitting cross-legged in a circle under a canopy of stars. "Visualize it flowing like a river, powerful and ever-present. With every breath, let it expand." Mira's brow furrowed in concentration. "I can feel the warmth building, but I also sense something in the periphery. It's darker, lurking," she confessed, her voice laced with concern. Ravi nodded, a tremor in his hands as he spoke. "What if we can't wield it? What if we fail?" Alara felt their fear like a coiled serpent, yet the countercurrent within urged her to reassure them. "We must not allow the shadows to dictate our fate, my friends. Remember the visions we shared? Our strength lies in unity. Together, we can face anything that threatens us. We are chosen ones. We are meant to endure." As the days passed, the flickering flame of optimism flickered between the trio. They pursued extensive training, practicing energy shields, healing techniques, and even rudimentary telepathy to synchronize their minds and hearts. However, the greater their progress, the more Alara felt the darkness gnawing at the periphery of their strength, a premonition stirring an urge to uncover its nature. One fateful evening, amidst a particularly intense session, the candles extinguished spontaneously, thrusting them into darkness. Alara's heart raced as she sensed the shift, a stark reminder of the shadows that loomed just beyond their sanctuary. With a wave of her hand, shadows cast eerie figures against the walls, whispering secrets meant to unsettle. In that moment of vulnerability, a flicker of doubt permeated her mind. The illusions began to warp her vision, pulling each of them into a vortex of self-doubt. What if we are simply pawns in a game we cannot comprehend? Alara thought, yet she pushed the thoughts aside, anchoring herself with purpose. Unease lay thick in the air, suffocating the light they'd cultivated together. Alara felt the urge to confront the darkness gnawing at her, prompting her to dive deeper into the mindscape of her visions. After the light dimmed, she took a step back, her heart thundering as she calmed her thoughts. Alara closed her eyes and allowed her spirit to drift into a trance, envisioning herself amidst a swirling nexus of light and dark. Hours passed as visions flooded her being, allowing clarity to blossom amidst confusion. Within her meditation, Alara caught glimpses of the dark figure that haunted her dreams, now more to find a shadow wrapped in tattered robes, eyes glowing with malice. This was her enemy, her antithesis, and it yearned for the energy of the chosen ones. With each pulse of energy coursing through her, Alara began to see something else, not just the dark figure, but also the threads that connected them all, illuminating the pathways of unity, trust, and love. As she expanded her awareness, she visualized herself standing amidst her friends, their powers interwoven like the roots of a mighty tree, grounding them against the storm. When she finally opened her eyes, the weight of knowledge settled heavily on her. The darkness was real, the threats were tangible, but the path was crystalline. Their connection could withstand the shadows should they remain united. Summoning her friends, Alara shared her visions with fervor, their eyes growing wide with every word. The dark figure she described held weight in their hearts. This was an adversary they could not ignore. Remember, together we can channel our energy, turning fear into a shield, binding us to one another. We must prepare for whatever comes next. Recognizing the seriousness of their situation, they decided to delve even deeper, seeking stories from the ancient book. What would it teach them about confronting such darkness? Each page turned revealed a legacy steeped in hardship, tales of chosen ones who had emerged victorious over darkness decades past. Yet ominously, many stories ended with loss. Days bled into a routine of preparation, but shadows dwelled in the fabrics of their encounters, always just at the edge of perception. They visited the town's elders, discerning the presence of ancient practices designed to counter dark forces. Each visit left Alara feeling a mixture of hope and uncertainty, igniting a determination that burned like a beacon. "We must focus on our intentions. The light must guide our actions," Alara repeated, keeping the urgency at the forefront of her mind. They incorporated lessons of perception training that the elders imparted, fine-tuning their senses for signs of encroaching shadows. Yet, during their gathering one night, an unsettling feeling crept into the atmosphere. The echoes of whispers fluttered through the room, as if intentionally swaying them to despair. Ravi, his face pale, called out, "Something feels off. Are we truly prepared for what's to come?" His voice trembled slightly, exposing the vulnerability that both Alara and Mira had been holding tightly beneath their confident exteriors. Stepping forward, Alara caught herself as she searched their faces. "We are all afraid. That is normal. But what defines us is what we do with that fear. Let's take a moment to embrace it and channel it into our unity." A moment of silence punctuated her statement, and the air crackled with a knot of tension. To Alara's surprise, her words resonated deeply. The dark specters that closed in on them seemed to recoil, dissipating in a cloud of silhouettes. Gazing at each other, a promise ignited. Together, they would confront the shadows not only within, but also those that sought to descend upon their town. That night, as they formed a circle, entwined hands, and murmured a collective prayer, they ignited the flicker of hope, their spirits rising as they vowed never to walk alone. What they didn't know was that the dark figure had been listening, waiting, entwined within the shadows of their fears. The coming storm was not just an emotional one. It was a battle of wills and energies, dormant yet poised for manifestation. And little did Alara realize, the coming days would test their bond in ways they could never fathom. As winter progressed, the weight of dread bore down on Alara and her friends. Days melded into nights as the shadows outside their sanctuary deepened, while whispers of unease snaked through the town. Rumors of disappearances began to spread, unsettling even the most stoic of residents, while dark clouds gathered ominously overhead. The atmosphere crackled with tension, foreshadowing a storm neither Alara nor her companions were fully prepared for. Determined to hone their abilities, Alara organized regular training sessions, each one drenched in a sense of urgency. Their group dynamics evolved, though they had begun as friends. Now they were bound by a sacred duty. Under the star-speckled sky, Alara, Ravi, and Mira practiced their gifts, drawing upon the anguish surrounding them and channeling it into something greater. One evening, drenched in moonlight, they stood upon a hill, the town sprawling below like a blanket of starlight. The chilly wind whipped around them, yet at that moment, Alara felt a powerful presence surge through her, an essence of divine energy that pooled within their circle. Tonight, let's focus on channeling our combined strength as a defensive barrier, she suggested, her voice resonating with newfound confidence. Ravi took a deep breath, unusually contemplative. But what if it isn't enough? What if our barriers can't hold? Alara placed a steadying hand on his shoulder, illuminated by the ambient glow of the candles they had arranged in a circle. It is enough because we will believe in each other. We must turn our doubts into resolve, united as one, and allow our energies to flow together. Mira smiled brightly, lending her lightness to the spirit of the gathering. We are each a thread in this tapestry. Together, we can weave a fabric thick enough to guard against any impending storm. With the spark ignited, they clasped hands and closed their eyes, tuning into the harmonic frequency surrounding them. The chill of the winter wind faded, replaced by a warmth blossoming between them. An overwhelming sense of trust enveloped the trio. With each synchronized breath, they summoned energy, envisioning it bubbling from their hearts, coalescing into a luminous shield. As their energies intertwined, the sensation of power filled the air. Elara could almost hear the distant echoes of their potential. But beneath the exhilarating momentum lay an inseparable thread of anxiety. Somewhere beyond the horizon, the dark figures stirred, drawn by the illumination they dared to create. And then it happened. As night cloaked the hills, the low growl of thunder rumbled ominously, and Elara opened her eyes while the group remained connected, sensing something shifting on the edges of reality. The shadows seemed deeper, curling and beckoning at the corners of her vision. A surge of adrenaline coursed through her, urging her to attune their focus to the anchoring light between them. But just then, her heart sank. That very moment, a flash ignited the sky, illuminating a dark mass looming overhead, the embodiment of their fears. It felt as if the storm had come alive, possessing a will of its own, as the shadows approached steadily, stretching wide with intent. "What's happening?" Mira shouted over the howling winds, panic threading her voice. Elara drew deeper into the energy shared between them, listening to the whispers of the universe. "We need to stand firm. Remember what we've trained for," she called, her own voice bolstered by the intensity of the moment. But in the depths of the gathering storm, the dark figure fully emerged, a hulking silhouette of the malevolent entity that had been lurking in the shadows since the beginning. It twisted and curled around the remnants of their light. "You think you're strong together?" A voice growled, reverberating with disdain. "You're nothing but children playing with power you don't understand. You are but echoes, mere reflections in a fading world." Fear coursed through Elara like ice. This voice, this presence was harbinger of their deepest fears, seeking to unravel them from within. The trio felt an urge to flee, and for a moment, doubt clutched tightly at Elara's heart. They had fought valiantly to unite, but could their bonds withstand an attack from someone who understood their weaknesses? Yet as the darkness crept closer, something flickered in the depths of Elara's resolve, an ember of defiance igniting her spirit. "Together we will stand," she asserted, remembering their commitment to each other. "We are the chosen ones. We carry the light, and we can withstand this darkness." With determination rebounding in her voice, she reached her other hand toward Mira and Ravi, completing the circle of protection. Their energies swirled brightly around them, forming a protective barrier of radiant light, a candle amid the expanding shadows. The dark entity sneered, its glowing eyes piercing into their souls, seeking to devour their burgeoning energy. Wind howled, forcing Elara to tighten her grip on her friends. "Feel the light," she shouted, focusing on the warmth radiating between them. "Focus on what we believe in." As they concentrated, the flicker of confidence grew into a blaze, cascading outward as a shield of energy, drawing on the TIs that bound them. A shimmering dome enveloped the trio, pushing against the encroaching shadows, causing the dark figure to waver, uncertain. For a brief moment, they felt invincible, like stars bathing in the radiant glow of undeniable power. They could sense that their combined energies had sparked a wave of pure light that pressed against the darkness, becoming an unyielding force in the face of despair. The howl of wind transformed into a chant, echoing through the air, drowning out the whispers of doubt. "This is our light," they chanted together, reverberating courage, more a mantra than a battle cry. The glow pulsed with love and unity, encircling them. But just as their resolve peaked, a piercing scream erupted from the multifaceted darkness, where the entity finally unleashed its first fully manifested form. The figure lunged towards Elara, dark tendrils writhing like serpents, seeking to entwine them in chaos. In that heartbeat, Elara saw what the darkness truly was, a manifestation of all their fears, their doubts, an entity born from within themselves. "No, we will not be ruled by fear," she roared, channeling everything within, reaching deep to lift her spirit higher than it had ever been before. The light intensified, battling against the malevolence that threatened to consume their unyielding bond. It was a contest of wills, for as the darker entity descended, empowered by their insecurities, Aria and her friends became the embodiment of all their collective hopes, uprooting the notion that they were not enough. They were the chosen ones. The energy connected with the force of nostalgia as they confronted the entity, not with weapons, but with the embers of their aspiration, a surge of enlightenment residing in every heartbeat that resonated through the demon from which they were born. As their voices blended together, a wave of luminescent energy washed over them, enveloping Aria and her friends, weaving fortitude into the very fabric of their mission. But before they could fully grasp their destiny, an avalanche of energy released from the dark figure, shaking the very ground they stood on, propelling their shield to its limits. With eyes wide open, they knew this battle was just the beginning, one that could determine the fate of not only Willow Creek, but their destinies intertwined forever. Aria felt the relentless pull of shadows grasping at their shared light, threatening to fracture their newfound unity. In a moment of clarity, she realized that to overcome this adversary, they must each emerge victorious, not only as individuals, but in their willingness to trust that together, they could become the very beacon of hope, resilience, and unity that would dawn against the encroaching darkness. And so it was that under that vast canopy of stars, amidst the convergence of light and shadow, Aria and her friends would soon discover the true extent of both their power and their purpose data as the clash between light and darkness escalated. Aria's heart raced with the palpable tension of the moment. Their bubble of protection shimmered, crackling with energy as it pushed against the dark entity's relentless advance. With every ounce of willpower, they stood resolute, intertwined in a bond that had flourished through trials and revelations. Yet, beneath the surface, a storm brewed within each of them, a tumult of doubt, fear, and uncertainty that threatened to fracture their unity. The dark figure lunged forward, its tendrils reaching out with malevolent intent, seeking to sap their strength, unraveling the very fabric of their connection. Aria could feel it tugging at the edges of her mind, whispering doubts and failures from moments long past. Why are you worthy? You are frail mortals, and you think you can harness the light? The dark entity taunted, its voice laced with venom as shadows flickered around them. But within Aria, that flicker ignited a blazing fire. Because we believe in each other. She screamed into the tempest, focusing her energy, drawing upon the memories of laughter, shared secrets, and the love they had cultivated in their bond. Mirroring her conviction, Ravi and Mira held steadfast, feeding their essence into the radiant barrier that had become their shield. With every heartbeat, Aria envisioned those cherished moments, letting them pulse through her veins like a mantra. The memories aligned with their current purpose, and slowly, she began to perceive the truth. They weren't powerless at all. Against the dark's influence, Aria stepped forward, her heart radiating warmth and courage. You do not define us. We are not ruled by fear, she declared, the light from their interconnected energies shimmering in the encroaching darkness. The glow of their unity resonated deeply, echoing a truth older than time itself. They were the chosen ones, linked not through the weight of destiny alone, but through love and empowerment. In that moment, her friends gathered around her, their hands clasped tightly, hearts synchronized. Aria felt the surge of divine energy within them erupting into the atmosphere, urging them onward while illuminating the path ahead. As the dark figure screeched in defiance, their barrier reflected the brightness they had forged together, illuminating the shadows that cowered against its brilliance. Ultimately, Aria and her friends understood that the darkness was no adversary, but a test, a challenge that awaited their combined embrace of all that they were. Their experiences, both the joyous and painful, fused together into something monumental. The urgency of overcoming became a catalyst for transformation. Drawing strength from this realization, Alara envisioned their energies converging into a single radiant beam, a channel strong enough to pierce even the darkest depths. Together, she shouted as they realigned their focus. "We are more than the sum of our fears. We are light, unity, power." The trio interconnected, guiding one another eye to eye, heart to heart, bound by a purpose that transcended each of them individually. Alara guided them to concentrate through both will and intent, pushing their energies upwards. The luminous arc spiraled until it converged into a single, blinding light that shot toward the dark figure, illuminating the chasms of fear like a bolt of divine inspiration. The brilliance crashed against the shadows, igniting a clash of energies, crowning them in righteousness as the aura of their unity clashed against the dark entity that had sought to claim their gifts. And then, as the dark entity writhed under the onslaught, the pressure around Alara and her friends intensified. They could feel the forces battling against them, like a storm swirling fiercely. But within the tempestuous energy lay a growing strength as their trust in one another solidified. Each heartbeat radiated with an assurance that resonated through them, like thunder while pulsing with the synchronicity of a unified heart. But at the peak of confrontation, just as victory seemed within reach, a violent gust ripped through the air. The lights faltered for a fleeting moment as doubt rekindled like coals of embers. Caught amidst the chaos, a tremor seized Alara's spirit. The entity's whispers became loud in her mind once more, dredging up insecurities that had lain dormant. "You are fools to think you can change anything. Look at what you have lost. The bond you seek is a mirage, destined for ruin." It hissed, its voice a sinister echo that reverberated in the recesses of her heart. Alara gasped as images of her own fears spiraled through her mind, isolating her from the warmth of her community, fraying threads in her relationships, feeling the weight of expectations crushing her. Doubt seeped into her being. Perhaps the shadows were right. Perhaps they would be stranded in cycles of grief and fear, and these moments of brightness would soon dim, leaving nothing but darkness. But just as despair threatened to engulf her, she felt a warm glow grasping her heart. Through the tumult, her friend's hands steadied hers, each one a tether drawing her back. "Fight it," Mira cried, her voice bursting through web of doubt. "We're here, Alara. Remember us." Those words unraveled the knot within her chest, reminding Alara of the promise they had made to uphold each other and ensuring they would never walk alone. It was the collective spirit she felt across their connection, a bond forged through vulnerability, hardship, and the undeniable love that had cultivated their journey together. Realigning her thoughts, she raised her head high, facing the darkness one last time. "You may try to suffocate us, but we are not mere reflections of your fear. We are light incarnate. We grow stronger, not weaker, in the face of adversity." Alara shouted into the abyss, raising a hand where the center of their energies converged. As the blinding light surged, radiating fiercely, she felt the shadows waver. The brilliance pulsed with her essence, embodying her determination and their shared belief that love could triumph over chaos. They channeled their energy as one, allowing the golden light to saturate the darkness, resonating like an electrical current, illuminating the shadows with warmth. That was when the dark entity began to falter, twisting and curling against the retreating light that consumed it. The sounds of desperation tore through the air, accompanied by a crashing wave of energy that broke the malevolence apart, like fog dissipating under the sun's dominance. And with one final surge of radiant energy pulsing from their united front, the pain of losses, fear's abandoned Alara felt the darkness zap back with a final, screeching cry. The shadows exploded around them, shattering into wisps of vapor as their light surged and engulfed the remnants of fear. As silence enveloped the hill, the darkness receded, and what remained of the ominous figure began to dissolve into nothingness. Alara, Ravi, and Mira, still perched together, felt the energy around them shift profoundly as the air grew still, heralding the end of the haunting encounter. Aria collapsed onto the ground, breathless and spent, but invigorated. Their combined presence glowed vibrantly, igniting air with warmth. What had once been a dark presence was transformed. The mutual bond they shared shimmered brightly, as if they had been enveloped in a protective cocoon forged of love and hope. The three of them stood up, adrenaline coursing through their veins, awash in the glow of their victory. The shadows had been vanquished, but what remained was a powerful affirmation of their strength, as the chosen ones, a conviction that would echo not only in their hearts, but serve as a beacon for those they could yet influence. As dawn broke, the colors of the rising sun spilled over the horizon, illuminating the land of Willow Creek with new vibrancy. The beauty reminded them all that even in the darkest moments, light could always triumph. They had forged a path not just for themselves, but for others who would seek their own transformations. But in that moment, amidst joyous laughter and overwhelming relief, Aria knew their journey was far from over. The battle against darkness would always exist. New challenges awaited, and to face those challenges, they would need to remain vigilant together. "Are you two ready for whatever comes next?" she asked, grinning through the fatigue. "Absolutely," Ravi replied, his gaze steady and bright. "Always by your side," Mira added, the warmth of hope radiating from her smile. Their bond renewed, Aria felt invincible, fueled not by the absence of doubt, but by the understanding that strength flourished in unity. Thus, the day dawned anew, as did their purpose, lighting their way ahead into the unknown journey that would continue to unfold in the weeks following their victory. The town of Willow Creek slowly transformed, light penetrating shadows that had loomed large over the community for far too long. Aria and her friends became symbols of hope, their story inspiring others to tap into their own divine potential. Word spread of the triumphant battle against darkness, and soon people began to gather around them, eager to learn and connect with the energies they had harnessed. Aria stood in the town square one sunny afternoon, her heart swelling with pride. The energy of the townsfolk was palpable as they gathered to hear her speak. Their faces reflected a mixture of hope and curiosity, reminding her of her own journey, a journey that was far from singular, filled with threads weaving into a brighter tapestry. Mira stood beside her, embodying vibrant enthusiasm, while Ravi worked his way through the crowd, welcoming people and encouraging them to find their unique gifts. The faces radiating joy served as a testament to the power of unity and perseverance. Aria knew that their experiences could not only change their lives, but also ripple through the heart of the world they inhabited. Taking a deep breath, she stepped forward atop the makeshift podium, allowing the warmth of the sun to wash over her. She felt the connection between her and the gathered crowd, the genuine energy flowing as she smiled and began to speak. "Thank you all for standing with us, for believing in the light. Together, we fought a darkness that sought to divide and conquer, but in doing so, we discovered the true essence of our strength, our unity. Each of you possesses your own unique gifts, and as a community, we must nurture these gifts and stand together against anything that seeks to pull us apart." Cheers erupted among the townsfolk, the energy swirling like a gentle breeze, empowering them further. Ilara's heart raced as she continued. "In our past battles against darkness, we realized that fear thrives in isolation. But with trust, love, and connection, we can shatter that fear, transforming it into something powerful. We are no longer just individuals navigating this world. Together, we are chosen ones destined to uplift and awaken those around us." The applause echoed like thunder, vibrating through her very core, reinforcing her mission. But just as she prepared to continue, a sudden chill enveloped the atmosphere, and an unsettling whisper masked a residual unease trickling through the crowd. Ravi's eyes darted toward the horizon, squinting at the ominous clouds forming in the distance. "Alara, look," he exclaimed, indicating the swirling mass that seemed to take form. Shadows danced dangerously close, a swirling tempest lurking just outside the edges of their strength and community. Alara's heart sank as she recognized the threat. Darkness was again attempting to seize the air, reminding them that the battle was never truly over. Panic rippled through the townsfolk, uncertainty washing over their faces like a tide of dread. But the fire lit within her ignited anew, and she caught herself standing tall, ready to inspire once again. "Stay strong, everyone," Alara called, her voice ringing clear and firm. "We faced darkness before, and we prevailed. We know that light and shadow coexist, and that there is power in recognizing what we once feared. We will not let the specters of our past shadow the future we have forged." One of the townsfolk, an elder named Miriam, stepped forward, her image steadfast despite the chaos murmuring around them. "Alara's right. We must not forget what we've accomplished together. In every shadow there lies light. We will not retreat, only unite and stand our ground." The elder's fierce demeanor emboldened those around her, feelings of courage sparking amongst the worried crowd as they rallied together. In that moment of unity, Alara's heartbeat synchronized with theirs, an unmistakable resonance echoing the strength they possessed collectively. The threat ahead became a catalyst to reinforce what they had built. They could either succumb to fear or rise anew, like the phoenix from the ashes. Drawing on that energy, Alara resolved to face the darkness encroaching upon them. Remember your strengths. Visualize your gifts. Together, we can hold our ground and push back against what dares to fragment our community. With her voice emerging as a chant, a wave of conviction surged through the crowd. She felt the energy coalesce, becoming a luminous streak, soaring towards the shifting darkness. As the skies darkened, the swirling tempest engulfed the horizon, its intent to deepen fear and sow discord. But as Alara and the townsfolk focused their gifts' healing energies, charm, and illumination, they became woven into a powerful tapestry of light, a force emboldened by love and equality. Alara led them in synchronized breaths. Each pulse resonated through the community, like a heartbeat reminding them they were one, holding the power to change their reality. Beyond the horizon, the storm coiled and thrived, and yet here, beneath the communal gathering, they formed a circle of devotion flawlessly connected by trust. The dark figure took shape amidst the tempest, a mirror of all that had haunted them, but lacked the strength of their unity. With their combined force, shadows recoiled against the flames of their light. Each chant echoed with strength, confounding the darkness, reminding it of the resilience woven into their essence. When the culmination ignited, light surged upward, skyrocketing into the sky like a dazzling firework. A kaleidoscope of colors danced defiantly against the suffocating dark clouds, merging love and courage into a resounding pulse across the skies. And while the storm howled defiantly, its fury met its match in the unwavering spirit of the townsfolk and the synergy of Alara and her friends. The dark figure halting in its tracks as fear rivaled against hope, knowing that this was not a desperate plea of individuals, but a rising tide of unity that had blossomed over time. Together, they roared, the energy merging as each word manifested light rippling through the air. The collective became a force formidable against the approaching shadows, countering malevolence with strength and grace. With one final surge, the tempest shrank back, struggling against the brightness engulfing it, a place where love and light prevailed over chaos. The shadows, once fierce, began to dissipate, as if they were not robust entities at all but illusions fading away. As the turmoil subsided, silence fell over the town square. A palpable calm swept through as ponies emerged from the clearing. The clouds dissipated, revealing a brilliant blue sky while confirming the power of harmony. Alara's heart soared, a blend of exhilaration and gratitude washing over her. They had passed through the darkness, reminding themselves of the profound power embedded in unity and love. Though new threats would undoubtedly arise, and with them the journey of awakening, Alara could feel the bond she shared with her friends, as well as the warmth of the whole community, reminding her that together their story would unfold into the beauty of endless possibilities. They were not just chosen ones of fate, they were chosen ones of choices, weaving that sacred light into everything. Willow Creek would prosper, for it had been tested, and through that crucible, each member discovered the divine spark waiting within. Alara breathed deeply, feeling the warmth of love encircle her heart, a feeling that needed to be nurtured and expanded. As she stood before the townsfolk, once more a radiant light in their midst, she knew this was only the beginning of the legacy they would create. Together, they would carry the message far beyond their borders, lighting new pathways of understanding and awakening in the world. In unity, they had become the beacons of hope that would illuminate each flicker of darkness, allowing the dance of light and shadow to coexist harmoniously. And in that, they would find their strength. As the sun dipped towards the horizon, casting a golden hue over their beloved town, Alara made a silent promise to embrace their legacies, the stories of all chosen ones yet to come. And while their adventures would surely follow, what resonated with her soul was the unwavering truth. They were not alone, and together they could light the path toward a transformed world. The atmosphere crackled with energy as Alara and her friends stood on the precipice of a new challenge. The battle they had faced was only reflective of a deeper struggle, one that now unfolded before them in layers of chaotic dark tendrils swirling ominously. Shadows coiled around the outskirts of Willow Creek, slithering closer with each passing day, each whisper echoing doubts and fears into the hearts of the townsfolk. Alara felt a knot twisting in her stomach, realizing that what had begun as victory was merely the precursor of an impending trial, a reckoning drawing near. One evening, as the sun dipped behind the horizon, bathing the landscape in hues of crimson and gold, Alara sensed the air thrum with an unnatural tension, as if the universe held its breath, waiting for the storm to unleash. She gathered Ravi and Mira, feeling the weight of uncertainty heavy in her heart. Each of them had been radiating with newfound power, but now a shadow loomed, threatening to sever the bonds they had forged. "It's time," Alara murmured, determination mixing with fear. "We must confront the darkness before it consumes our home. We cannot wait for it to make the first move again. We need to stand united, shoulder to shoulder, against whatever awaits us." Ravi nodded, though uncertainty lingered in his eyes. "What if it's stronger than we anticipate? What if we can't fight it?" Mira stepped forward, her voice steady as she breathed reassurance into the wound of doubt. "Remember our training. We've faced the darkness once. We can face it again. Together, we are stronger than any shadow." Alara felt a flicker of resolve ignite within her. Even as they faced their greatest challenge, they were more than mere individuals. They had become a force to be reckoned with when united. Cupping her hands around her heart, she closed her eyes and inhaled deeply, centering herself in the energy of their collective spirit. As twilight descended, shadows danced at the edges of their perception. Alara felt the wind shift, carrying whispers of malevolence that threatened to unravel their courage. "We won't allow this darkness to dictate our fate," she affirmed, directing her energy into the ether. Opening her eyes, she glanced towards her friends, who stood resolute beside her, bolstered by unspoken trust. Taking a step forward, they linked hands, forming an unwavering alliance. The ground beneath them trembled as the darkness began to coalesce, twisting and writhing, forming a corporeal shadow that loomed larger, darker than before. Shadows unfurled into dark battalions that stretched far and wide, advancing upon them with fierce intent. An echoing voice reverberated, laden with disdain. "You think you can withstand the inevitable? You are fragile, mere whispers against the storm. Every heartbeat resonated with fear, but Alara locked gazes with Ravi and Mira, drawing from the well of resilience that thrived between them. We are strong together, she shouted as she fueled the energy that reverberated through their circle. The battle that ensued was unlike any they had faced before. Tendrils of darkness lashed out at them, seeking to pull their strength apart, sowing seeds of doubt and fear. Shadows wound around them, whispering memories of failure, illuminated pain, and unresolved insecurities that gripped at their hearts. Alara felt the weight of her past pressing down on her. She could almost hear the echoes of negativity creeping back in. You cannot deny who you truly are, the dark figure taunted, its voice seeping into their minds. You're not worthy of this power, remember your struggles. In that moment of vulnerability, Alara felt the intensity of doubt clawing at her spirit, but she refused to succumb. Reckoning with her insecurities allowed her to find clarity. What was once an overwhelming tide of darkness morphed into an empowering reminder of her journey and purpose. We are defined not by our past failures, but by our capacity to overcome them. Alara found her voice amidst the chaos, conviction thrumming in her chest like a heartbeat. As she spoke, the energy shifted. Darkness began to recede, revealing the light within her spirit that burned brightly. Ravi and Mira emerged by her side, channeling their own strengths. We won't be defined by you, they declared in unison, rallying together. The energy between them fused into a glowing energy barrier, pushing against the encroaching shadows. Together, they strengthened their resolve, wielding the collective force of their unity to push back the dark presence. But just as the shadows narrowed, the opposing force surged, entwining threads of darkness encasing them entirely in an oppressive storm. Alara closed her eyes and focused on the connection binding them together. Let us rise as one, she shouted, opening her heart to the warmth of shared energy. Breaking free from the tendrils of despair that tried to engulf her, she felt the surge of love and strength from her friends imbue her spirit, propelling her forward. The overwhelming force propelled from their bond exploded into a vibrant flash, a radiant wave of cumulative energy rocketing toward the heart of darkness. Silver threads shimmered through their connection, illuminating the periphery, forming a domed shield around the three of them. As the clash of energies reached its peak, it created a blinding burst, sending shock waves through the very fabric of time and space. They could all feel the energy refracting in an explosion of light. This was the moment that would change everything. In that dizzyingly potent moment, Alara sensed the darkness vibrating with uncertainty, caught off guard by their unexpected unity. Together, she screamed, planting her feet firmly, willing the light to rise higher, stronger. The darkness struggled for dominance, but under their fervent glow, the shadows began to crack and evaporate. The dark figure twisted and contorted, releasing agonized howls as it fought against the surplus of light invading its very essence. The shadows softened, revealing fading fragments of sorrow and fear who once held power over them. As the darkness dissipated, it revealed remnants of a spectral face, burdened with pain and remorse, the embodiment of fear and the wounds that had once shackled them. In that moment of vulnerability, Alara felt empathy swell in her heart. This was not merely an oppressor. It reflected the unresolved insecurities that dwelled within her and each of her friends. It cradled the echoes of pain they had chosen to confront together, the fear they had chosen to shatter. In an act of unprecedented bravery, Alara extended her hand towards the fading shadow. We acknowledge you. You don't have to live in darkness. We choose not to fear you. Instead, we embrace your pain and let our light envelop your shadow. Her words pierced through the dark veil, reaching deep within the shadows, reverberating like a gentle wisdom. The remnants of darkness trembled, rippling as it began to unfurl into a myriad of sparkling stars, shimmering softly, hinting at their newfound freedom. Suddenly, a radiant light surged forth, igniting the night sky, expanding outward, engulfing the darkness with vibrant brilliance. With an exhilarating burst, the darkness shattered into 1,000 glimmering fragments of light. Aria and her friends discovered that the battle had not been to extinguish their fears, but rather to find strength in acknowledging them. The shadows surrendered, transformed into twinkling stars that blanketed the night, a reminder of the power wielded in acceptance and unity. They stood together, hand in hand, enveloped in the iridescent glow of victory, reminded that darkness would never fully vanish from the world, but with their light, they could shape it, define it, and find connection within it. As the shimmering starry fragments settled, the entire world seemed to sigh in relief, knowing that their essence was forever transformed, proving that even in the face of despair, unity always triumphed over fear. Aria choked back tears as she realized that this transcendence was just the beginning of what was yet to unfold. In the aftermath of the battle, as the dawn light broke over Willow Creek, Aria stood at the edge of the town, her heart swelling with a profound sense of purpose. The remnants of darkness had been transformed into the gentle twinkling of stars, illuminating the sky like a tapestry woven from their collective fears and triumphs. It was a testament to the victory they had fought for, not just over shadows, but over the doubts that had once overshadowed their existence. Aria turned towards her friends, Ravi and Mira, and saw the same look of wonder mirrored in their eyes. They had discovered something beyond their powers. They had unveiled the true essence of connection, the unbreakable bond that had strengthened with every challenge they faced together. Each sparkle in the sky served as a reminder of their journey, a guiding light that would forever illuminate their path ahead. As townsfolk emerged from their homes, relieved to witness the remnants of chaos transformed into peaceful beauty, Aria felt a surge of energy unfurling from within. She knew their efforts had not only rekindled hope in Willow Creek, but had ignited the dormant flames of potential in the hearts of those around them. The battle had been won, but the war against fear and despair remained a continuous journey. Stepping up onto the podium once more, her voice resonated through the streets filled with eager faces. Today marks the beginning of a new chapter for each of us. Together, we have pushed through the darkness, but we forgot that shadows still lurk in corners. While they may never fully disappear, we must remember that our light is resilient, illuminating our hearts and those of others. We are called to awaken our gifts and nurture the bonds we have forged. This is only the beginning. Cheers erupted once again, swelling with exhilaration, as unity surged through the crowd like wildfire. Aria felt alive with energy, knowing they could shape not just their futures, but those of others, transforming the world from a place fraught with darkness into one imbued with hope. As the sun rose higher, its rays began to paint the town in resplendent colors. Aria sought out her friends, wrapping her arms around them in a powerful embrace. We did this together. The lights we've lit will grow, but remember, we must nurture them and ourselves. There will always be new challenges, but with our hearts connected, we can illuminate the darkest of nights. Ravi and Mira beamed, and their expressions reflected a shared understanding that resonated not only in their souls, but in the very fabric of their beings. They too realized the continual evolution that awaited them. Their skills would need honing, their emotional awareness would require attention, and their commitment to one another needed to persist. In the days to come, they embarked on a journey of mentoring and self-discovery together, reaching out to the townsfolk, transforming fear into empowerment. Aria, alongside Ravi and Mira, hosted gatherings inviting everyone to uncover their hidden gifts, drawing forth the magic waiting to be awakened within the hearts of all. They would explore the wisdom of the ancient book that had sparked the first flames of curiosity and courage. It became a sacred text for the community, a symbol that in understanding their past, they could shape their future, a testament to the spiritual heritage that tied them all together. Wisdom was born from wounds, courage from fear, and through their shared experience, they discovered glimpses of who they truly were meant to be. However, amidst the excitement of awakening others, Aria often paused to reflect on her journey. She had unearthed an inner strength she never knew existed, and with that, she became acutely aware of the shadows that still flickered at the edge of her consciousness. The ache for understanding her lineage tugged at her heart, urging her to delve deeper into the mysteries of being a chosen one. Could there be more secrets to unveil? Insights waiting to be explored further? Standing beneath the vast sky one evening, with stars glittering like diamonds, she realized that answers lay ahead, shimmering with potential. As she gazed up, she felt the gentle pulsating energy of the universe intertwined with her longing heart, a call to further awaken and embrace her destiny, a calling she could not ignore. Determined, she grasped the hands of her friends, and together they forged a pact, a promise to navigate the unknown, to explore the depths of their gifts and share their wisdom wherever it may lead them. They were not just a trio, but a constellation of light, meant to guide those still lost in their own shadows. And so, as twilight settled over Willow Creek, they stepped into the night, ready to write new stories of awakening hearts, summoned purpose, and the unyielding brilliance of love, leading them onwards into a magnificent journey that illuminated the world beyond. The journey may have just begun, but Aria, Ravi, and Mira knew one thing: they were forever bound by light, each step an opportunity to reflect hope, nurture change, and share the gifts of the divine, igniting the flames of awakening across the universe.